Happy Good Friday to you. Remember, it represents our Lord's death, burial, and resurrection. I don't get caught up in the religious stuff of it, but that's what it represents. It was 3 full days. And then he rose on the third day. Let's see what I want to play here. Let's do a race series. Oh, it's one of those stunts. I don't like the stunts that well. Especially if I flip through the air. I fail miserably if I jump through the air.
Hey, what's happening with it, pimp? You know who it is. It's your boy LD. Hey, I know we ain't chopped it up in a minute, but I got a homie that needs something. And y'all just might make a perfect partnership. Let me read this thing. Looking for a professional operative to co-manage private intelligence business catering to celebrities and high net worth individuals. If that sound like you, nigga, you need to get your name on the lease over at Dynasty 8 Executive. And my boy gonna holler at you. Peace.
I was muted. The whole time I was muted. Testing 1, 2. I was muted. The whole time I was muted. Sorry about that. Testing 1, 2. I was muted. See, I didn't know whether I had sound or not, because I'm using the headset as opposed to the built-in controller, because I finally figured out how to use the headset. What I was saying was the whole time, and you wasn't hearing it, I was saying about how I'm going to have to check and see if I got sound. I was using my MP3 phone for that. You can't use it with the phone service anymore. They freaking closed out, and it's a good phone. It's got a little crack in the screen, and this crack would sort of get my fingers sore when I touch it. So I replaced it, but then when I got a newer phone, which wasn't as good as it. I mean, it was a name brand. I just use it for MP3s now. It was a Samsung. It was $110 $12 when I bought it. It was higher than that. That was just a sale price. Now I know why they sold it. See, it wasn't even. I wouldn't even have got a year out of that because I only got away from it for a little bit, and I tried to go back, and then they told me you can't use this phone with our service anymore. And they actually locked my freaking service down, made me pay another $50 upon my other $50 that I already paid for the month's service, which is a ripoff. They ought to really be fined for that. They really ought to go up against. Somebody should come up against them for doing people that way. I mean, when you done paid your freaking service, they just should turn, even if it's just a little fee they charge you, it should turn it back on. You shouldn't have to pay next month's fee to turn it back on. That's highway robbery right there. For them to cut your service off and then make you go pay the service again when you may not even have that $50 extra to put into a phone service. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't. They really ought to be fined for that. That ought to be counted as crooked purposes by AT&T/Cricket. It's a ripoff is what it is. They was the one who turned my phone off. I mean, just think. They would have turned my phone off anyway. You see, I didn't even know they had turned it off because it was fine when it just has that little crack in the screen. And the crack would get me, and I couldn't ever find... It had several different sizes for it. And when I'd buy the cases and the screen things, they were always too big or too little, and I'd get the wrong one. And... Well, now I just use this MP3. And I had to log in, and I had to check and see if I had sound. And I didn't have sound, so I had the freaking microphone. That's crooked, though, when you'll charge a person the amount that they paid. And, oh, they take it off next month's bill. I mean, you might not have $100 freaking dollars to put up front for service. You know, I mean, if you're on a cheaper service, you're on a cheaper service because you don't have the freaking money. I'm sorry. Yeah, that'd be counted as... I should have turned them into the SEC or somebody for that. I really should have turned them in. That's crooked. These big companies, they just get away with everything. Why wasn't it Wells Fargo or whichever one it was, one of them banks, actually got in trouble for being a part of drug smuggling and just paid a little bit of a fine? They just let these big old companies do whatever they want to do. Oh, I should have went and got the next door. Oh, yeah, she ain't across the street from that one. She's a little up. Let's go up to the next house. They just let these big ass companies do what the hell they want to do. Then they're mad because Elon Musk wants to buy Twitter. He should buy Twitter. If you ain't got the guts to let people have free speech, don't own a social media company. Get out of the business. Move over and let somebody control it that'll let free speech flow. And quit being the government's little schmuck. You don't have to be the government's little schmuck. I know they're not going to like me saying that. I don't give a damn. You don't have to be the government's little schmuck. That's what we got away from. Do you don't realize that's what we got away from? That's what we come over here for? To get away from all that. They're not even supposed to be involved with all this stuff. I don't care what their reason they claim they're doing it for. Save you from terrorism or something else. That's not their job. Their job is to provide a government. And their job also ain't to be starting wars. And I heard Rodney Howard Brown mention this morning while I was listening to service that the Pentagon's the one that's waging the war into the Russia. Now, you know, they've been working on that a long time. How long have we been hearing about Russia collusion, Russia collusion, Russia collusion? This is something that this ain't just come up. They cooked it up. And our money pays for it. Mine in particularly don't, but I mean our people's does. Whoa. Move over and let somebody own these companies that's going to allow free speech to grow. I don't care whether you people like that or not. That's what our country was built on. We don't live in China and Russia and all them other countries. Well, Russia got away from it. They're freer than some people. I mean, you can't disagree with Putin. That's been found out lately. He's been really cracking down on that lately. I did it! I did it! I did it! I did it! And now I'm not going to talk any more politics here. I didn't even mean for it to go that direction. I was more mad at these business companies just getting by with whatever they want to do. Because that's a good phone there. I'm telling you, I thought, well, I'm not going to just throw it away. It's a good phone, so I turned it into an MP3 player. Put my MP3s on it. I don't like its camera that well. I mean, it is a Samsung, but I just didn't ever like its camera too well. There's something about its camera I didn't like. Now, I tried to use it for karaoke and something happened. It wouldn't, the videos are too big, and so I used one of my water phones that I didn't like for the karaoke. That one was really horrible. It didn't have enough memory on it. Like, you can't even put freaking apps on it. I hear a nice beat to that. I can't tell what the song is. I probably know it. It's just too low for me to hear it. I know a lot of the funky songs. I love the funk, y'all. Yet they won't regulate the things you need to regulate. I brought this up on a Rockstar's feed yesterday. Tracy Guns. You know, you got food and medicine and necessities. They won't never regulate that stuff. When it comes to your life and livelihood and all this, they want to regulate that. Oh no, they won't regulate these businesses. They shouldn't be allowed to charge $200, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 for a medicine. It should not be allowed. It should be criminal. It should be criminal if a person needs that medicine. They should be able to get it. The best kind of medicine comes from Jesus. But I've been somebody who's prayed for those miracles, and I don't know if it's something I do or something, my little faith or whatever. It don't come. But that would be the best form of medicine. But until then, I'm going to need my medicines till I'm healed. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep believing for the healing. I'm not stupid. He does heal. His Bible says he healed. They even healed post the Jesus. His apostles weren't walking around heal people. So it can happen. It just ain't happened for me yet. But until it does, I'm going to have to not die, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to take their old creepy medications, even though I don't want to be on their medications. Now, luckily, I have well, sometimes it's a hassle. If they don't approve it, you can't get it. Like my doctor, he was wanting me to actually start checking my blood. And I actually agreed to it. It was as horrifying as it was. They wouldn't even buy me a freaking machine. Because they bought one eons ago. I can't even tell you what happened to it. When I first got diabetes. I've had diabetes for over 20-something years. And they won't let me buy another freaking machine. I don't know what happened to that one. I don't even know what I've done with it. 20 years ago. What if I'd had it out there in the house that burnt? I don't know what happened to that thing. Stored in storage somewhere? Stored up somewhere? Well, I didn't have the money to buy it. Hell, a lot of my stuff's on credit. Now, I'm not going to put something on credit that I don't even know if I'll be able to do anyway. I can't stick myself. So I just get what they call the 6-month testes, where they go in there and they look at you for the past. But he's wanting to see if I could get off of it, or if I was doing any better or worse or whatever, you know. That's what he was wanting to monitor. I shouldn't even be using credit now. I try not to. I messed up and did it on the WWE game. I shouldn't have done that. But I was wanting it so bad. Of course, I'm letting it pay off, you know. I haven't used that card for anything else. It's the Amazon store card. The last time I used that was something important, and I forgot what I bought. If I can't scrape the little dollars here and there, I don't usually get it right now. And even my PS5, I had the money saved, but I had to use that to go to the doctor on. And ended up getting the big majority of it being credit now. I only had about nearly $300 to actually put on it. So I'm still paying it off, you know what I'm saying? I had it saved up. But I had to put it back into the doctor, which isn't really a bad deal, but... You know, the thing about it is, they'll give all these old people that are able-bodied and can work. They cut mine just because my Social Security check's too big. See what I'm saying? Where these deadbeats get out here and actually work for a living. And you can't count this stuff right here. That's why I didn't invite her. I just do it for fun. And you see, half the time I can't get on half the time if I'm sick. I wouldn't be able to depend on even something like this for a living. Because it's not dependable. It's not dependable. I just do it for free. It's not dependable. Some people do it, some people can't. But you wouldn't be able to base your, unless you're one of those people that really did get hit off, but you'd still, if you was one of them people, you'd still want to, if you was making that, you might want to not just waste it and go buy big houses, and you might want to put it up, because it's not guaranteed. You know, it was one of the things they assessed when they were trying to stop me from getting my disability. I mean, them old creeps that work for the government tried everything to beat me out. They fought me for years. 2 or 3 years. And they were sitting there telling that judge all this stuff, and he asked them, yeah, but is that dependable? And finally, he ruled in my favor. After going through 2 other judges that didn't. He just sat there and, of course, I didn't never go before the others, you know. I only went through for him. He was the only one I ever actually faced them and saw them. And boy, you'd be surprised at things they'll cook up to try to keep you from getting disability. They'll cook up jobs that are hundreds of miles away, etc. This government is so dirty, but yet they won't think nothing about handing out money to people that really don't need it. But they fight the ones that really need it. They fight the veterans, the disabled. But you be some bum from another country, and they'll hand it to you. And then I don't have a right to be upset and say anything about it. Oh, I'm white privilege. That's privilege, all right. That's a privilege, all right. That's a privilege. That's so privileged. Oh, I'm so blessed by this country. Now, I'm blessed by God. He's been very fortunate to me many a times. I've seen him do many miracles. I've seen him stop me from going blind twice. I even saw him commit miracles here in this COVID thing. There was people in the hospital dying that very week that my mother was in there. He sustained us through that crap on vitamins and minerals and a few over-the-counters for me. They did give my mother a antibody for something. I believe it was her, what they called the ammonia, which I can't talk about here on the stream. There's a lot of question about whether that's pneumonia or not. Just go look up the snake venom stuff that's coming out right now. Snake venom poisoning. And I know they're going to call that false news, all this other stuff, but you can't put anything past these evildoers. That Fauci, he's one, and I better shut up. I'm on the gaming stream. He is a monster. He's got years and years of horrors that he's committed. Just horrors. That little man should really be rotting away in prison somewhere. Or maybe should have him had the death penalty. He's a murderer. He's like Satan the devil. He's a murderer. He's a liar. The truth isn't in him. He's like his father the devil. And people turned up dead just speaking out against the little bum. He is a bum, by the way. He may have made it as a doctor. He's a bum. He's a leech killing people. You know, that's why I like Michael Savage. He called these mooks and bums and all these people out for years, and they banned him and shadow banned him, and all he did was tell the truth about these people. Most people won't say it as they're afraid they're going to offend some people. And even Savage has had to tone down just a little bit in today's world. Where me, I haven't toned down, but I don't have nothing to lose, you know. I mean, yeah, you could take this stuff away from me, but I'd find some way to survive it. I'd survive somehow. I will survive. But it's not my living, you know. So it's easy for me to... Now, sometimes he gets on fire and he's the old Savage. And boy, when he does, I'm screaming, amen, at the radio. Of course, now you have to listen to it on podcast, but I still listen to it to the radio. Now I Bluetooth it. Before I had to use an FM transmitter. I've got a Bluetooth radio now. If I don't have a Bluetooth, though, I just FM transmit it. Which, when you do that, by the way, it gives you the feeling that you are listening to the radio. So if you ever miss people that's not on the radio anymore, and you want to feel like they're on the radio, just buy you a little mini FM transmitter. Sometimes they're terrible quality, and you'll have to adjust your radio some, but that makes it even better. Because when you're hearing that static, that really makes you feel like it's a broadcast. I tend to sometimes like the static, because it gives the feeling that you're listening to a broadcast. Like when I first started buying transmitters, and they really were terrible back then. They're better today, because China don't follow no rules, you know. Most of them's made in China now, and they don't follow the rules. Back in the old days, it'd be really weak, and I'd be listening to my radio station, my little mini radio station. It'd sound sort of like you was listening to 96 Rock in Atlanta. And you'd have the in the background of it. You know, it'd give me a good feel, because I thought, that's my little transmission. And it sounds like a real radio station. You know how when you brought them in from a distance, they sort of got that little fizz to them, you know. Well, they had that fizz in the beginning. The first transmitter I ever had. It had a real big whip antenna, though. I loved its antenna. Its antenna was tall. But boy, I guess it probably would have needed it. But that damn thing was weak. Its antenna was tall, but the broadcast was weak. You can only get so many feet away from the radio. And the further you got away from it, the worse it was. I eventually bought this one from C. Crane that was better than the rest of them. Now these China things outdo the C. Crane. They don't go much further either. I mean, you can only go so many feet with them too, but they're clear. In other words, you can go to a distant room and it'll still be just as clear as it was in the other room. Where with them transmitters of the past, you got some lower signal breakouts, which I kind of like, because, like I said, it gives you the feeling that you're listening to a distant radio station, like it's coming from far away. I like listening to them talk shows on radio. Sometimes if I want them, sometimes I've even transmitted myself just to hear myself. Because, you know, I never was on radio. I was only on podcast. I always wanted to be on radio. I used to have a friend who used to tell me, why you want to do that? I did that, and I hated it. He said you had to sit there for long hours. I guess that was the difference between me. Because I could only do it for however long I wanted to, and then I just had to quit when I wanted to. And a lot of times I use it just like my gaming. I probably did it 45 minutes at a time, or maybe an hour at a time. 2 hours if I'm lucky. I was that way back then. I just had a little more energy due to back then I wasn't treating my problems like the diabetes and stuff, and they thought I had it for years even before I went and had it checked. So I wasn't treating that back then. I still have the fibromyalgia, which is horrible. It's what takes most of my energy. And I'm sure this COVID didn't help none either with that crap. But of course, because, you know, that's one of the things it did to people. It hurt their energy levels. But I was the same way back then and stuff. I didn't have the internet back then. In 96, when I first, late 96, it was very late because I got it at the end of the year. That's when Columbia House first put them on sale. Most of it was late 96, early 97. Before then, I just made mixtapes and pretended to be a radio and would listen to them. Listen to them back later when I was just laying down or something or going somewhere. Which is really how my radio station came about. It was on the internet for a while. I still got playlists, and I don't never make them because I don't have time. I made one around December somewhere, maybe early January. I need to get back to that because I sort of like radio's the thing I really love. Out of everything I've loved, radio is the thing I always loved. I was just a radio fan. I really love doing my own transmissions. It's not as fun anymore. Because like I said, I don't get the distant sound anymore. Or it sounds like it's coming from a distance. And the transmitters are cheaper, but they're clearer. Cheaper and clearer. Because they come from China. And China don't follow their... Like I said, they don't follow the rules. So they're strict on that. China don't follow them. I bet you they're strict in their own country, though. I'd be willing to bet. I bet they don't even let their people have transmitters. That would be a broadcast if they didn't regulate. That would be a broadcast if they didn't regulate. And they'd be scared that some Chinese guy would get up there and tell the truth. I wish their police would start rejecting some of that stuff they're doing to their people. I mean, if they stood up and said no and didn't enforce it, it wouldn't be enforced. That's all it takes. See, that's how the Soviet Union fell. They quit complying when they were starving to death. And they thought, well, what am I doing this for? and it fell. And these people, they want to bring it back. They want to build that wall back worldwide. What you had in the Soviet Union, they want to make worldwide. That's why they're cracking down on the free speech. That's why they don't want nobody criticizing anything. Because they want to enslave us. I'm on the airfield. That's neat. Working around the planes. You can, but it don't do nothing to the plane. It just does something to you. Ah, she sucker punched him. That was funny. She only got $30 though. A yellow plane. I just have y'all to know I don't fit in any category, but I always go with freedom over everything else on some things. Meaning I'm not an anarchist. I don't believe that you can't have law and order. I don't want none of that. If you got that, you got something worse than what you got. Got a Walking Dead world. With Negans and governors and cartels. You know, that's what's wrong with Mexico. They run wild. When you got that kind of thing, somebody takes over. So you got to have law and order. I really don't like people telling you what to do at all. But I know sometimes you have to tell people what to do. Because they'll come in here and run all over you. If you ain't got it big enough, you know what to deal with them. You don't got the kind of tools to deal with them. And why would you want to live in a world like that where you had to just fight for everything? You had to stand around with your shotgun all the time. That's not some world you want to live in. That's terrible. I mean, some people might think, oh, that's adventurous. Sounds like garbage to me. That's not the kind of world I want to live in. You have to stand around with your shotgun all day. You probably need something bigger than a shotgun. Because there's no law and order, there's nobody telling them they can't have machine guns. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I just asked them they got a gun. I didn't mean to do that, y'all. That was kind of funny. My fingers hung up. It's just like it went right with the talk. Yeah, there's nobody regulating that they're going to have whatever they want to have. They might even have something you don't need. Because they've stolen them somewhere. Because the world's fallen. If you're in that situation and there's no law and order, that means that everything's fallen. You know, did they ever touch on anything like that in Walking Dead? I don't remember. I think the other one did, the one that was on Sci-Fi. Maybe they did too. I didn't watch. There was several seasons I didn't watch. Where they got a hold of some stuff that they shouldn't have got a hold of. I don't guess Walking Dead ever touched that subject, did they? Maybe they did. I know one thing, I'd have been making it like that. And not because I support that. That's what happens. You know, that's what happened when they took out Saddam Hussein. All them terrorists that became ISIS got all those weapons and stuff. It's not that I support that, but if I was making a TV show based on that kind of thing, I would go all out, you know what I'm saying? I'd show you what happens. Because, see, I think about I read up things like that. I think about what happens next. Even if it's not real, I think it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know everything. I've never claimed to know everything. And sometimes like when I'm writing songs and stuff, I'll do it from a fictionist point of view. She's on the airfield. She's in the wrong place to have a gun. They see her with that gun, they gonna gun her down. And rightly so. I wonder if it's even got bullets. I'm gonna test that and see. Nah, it's empty. It's empty. I figured it was. It's empty. Let's get it out of her hand. I don't even remember how to do that on this console. Oh, she can hit people with it though. That's neat. I got to remember that she can hit people with it. I don't know how to get her out of this mess. I can't believe I got into this. I like that outfit though. Black leather, black leather, black leather. Who originally done that? I gotta look it up. You know, Guns N' Roses covered it. I think I did hear the original once before, but I don't remember it, so I'm gonna go look it up. Today when I'm going to karaoke, I'm gonna go look it up. Who was that did that? Black leather, black leather. Who done that? My brain's going blank. Black leather, black. My throat's so scratchy today. Black leather, black leather, black leather. I forgot that allergy pill again last night. That's what's wrong. I forgot it for 2 days straight. And the pollen is terrible around here right now. No soreness or nothing. I got no soreness, thank God. But I remember I didn't take my pill. You know, I take them allergy pills daily. Where you at? Where you at, schmuck? Help you. I was going to hit him. I forgot how to hit. Dang it. Oh, well, he ran. And he ran so far away. He just ran. He ran so far away. Boy, I miss the 80s. It had a lot better music than the stuff we live in today. Mine included, don't even touch the stuff of the past. You know, though, I used the vocal removers on my first album. It doesn't completely remove the vocals. That's how strange I mixed that thing. You know, I had a guy from Sony. They had fired him, of course. He really was him. He was running a website. As far as I could tell, I'd checked him out. He told me, I said, it's really homemade. They said, if somebody could put you in a studio and do that, that would be really well. That's what he told me. This is MySpace days. But it was strange because I couldn't even remove the vocals. What I did was I sat and I listened to the Beatles. And I sat and listened to Jimi Hendrix. And what they did with the music, I copied with the vocals. You know, that was the only thing I really got to work on. Because my music was already pre-recorded for me, you know. I'd had it recorded for me. But I don't have a band, I don't know how to play music, but I can come up with the rhythms and sing them out. And I used to actually, when I build beats now, I used to pay people to do music. I can't reproduce what I did with that though. I don't remember how I done it, but I know I did it on a tape recorder. It was the 4-track tape recorder, and I did the rest of it on the computer. What I couldn't do on the that band is slow. What I couldn't do on the tape recorder, I did on the computer. Do 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 do. They found him lying dead in the flower garden. Yes, she killed him in the flower garden, and he died. That song was inspired by us never knowing what happened to my uncle. He went out with his 5 friends. He was shot. They tried to say he shot himself. Then later on, one of the schmucks broke and told my mama what happened. And then we got an investigation opened up on it again. To clear his name, of course, because they got him down that he killed himself. The doctor at the time didn't even believe he killed himself, but that was what they was telling. We wanted to clear his freaking name. Of course, you know, God knows. He sees all. He knows what happened that night. That night in 1962, our Lord Jesus knows what's happened in that night. We wanted to clear his name, but then the little prick recanted his story. Now the bum that supposedly shot him's already died now. He was still alive then. The bum that called himself his friend. That's why I never trusted people, ladies and gentlemen. I grew up hearing stories like that. And I guess it made a prisoner in a way, minus my disabilities. Because I'm kind of a recluse. I don't trust people. I don't tend to trust people. And I probably never will because of that. And then there was another story on the other side of the family. I won't get into that because that's not necessarily our story. In other words, it involves other family members, not just us. All of my mama's peoples are dead now, so it won't matter. She's the last survivor. She did have a half-sister. She died not too long. And while she was trying to solve his death. We found this out when she was on her deathbed. After she died. Indeed, her father, which was my grandfather, which I named Alistair Curley after. He was always trying to find out what happened. He never gave up. That's one thing, because my mama, she pulled away from him when she grew up. He was kind of rough to him. And we seen him twice, or I did see him twice anyway. I don't know about my sister. He came in and put our furnace in. He worked for the gas company and stuff. And he was there all day. He was even being nice to us and speaking to us. And he never did tell us who he was. And the minute he gets going, my daddy comes up with a smile on his face. He comes up and he runs up. You know that man that was here putting in the furnace, son? Well, that's y'all's granddaddy. We never knew him. That's the only time I seen him besides one time at school. And that was before the day I seen him. He was over there doing work. He spoke to me that day. Only saw him twice. There might have been a third time. I don't remember. My mama got mad at him and got away from him. He was trying to solve that death too. That's what that song's basically inspired off of. That low life that claimed he was his friend, and he said he shot him. But then he recanted, so we don't know, but that low life's already met guide if he did just kill him. And my mama thinks even something else. Because get this, her brother was saving up for a car. That money was gone. Well, guess who bought him a car right after my uncle died? The guy we're talking about. He had money to buy him a car after her brother was saving up to buy him a car. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I think we was right on our suspicions. So that's why I called him a lowlife. I gotta get out of here. I know that's all speculation. Only God knows. I never knew the douchebag, so it won't matter. It don't matter what I think of him. I never knew the schmuck. I never knew the schmuck. I'll never get out of this airport. I'll probably just have to quit today. That's why I don't like getting in the airport. In some ways, it's probably kind of good that the family of Nirvana doesn't actually question that, because that's a horrible thing to question, y'all. When you don't have that closure. I've read that all of them don't think he was killed. And by the way, I never thought it was Courtney, by the way. They accused Courtney, but I never believed that. I kind of mixed it with that conspiracy theory. As you notice, I bring a woman up in a flower garden, but it's really about my uncle. But I never believed she did it. You see, he pissed off a lot of people when he was quitting Nirvana. A lot of people was making money off him. Oh yeah, it seems like they were breaking up too, but you know, these people are devious. They're devils. They feed off these people that are creative. They feed off of them like demonic leeches. They make them to make blood pacts with the devil. Or they don't really make them. They coerce them. You know, they can walk away, but there's several that did and told it. These people are leeches. Demonic worms. You know, Marilyn Manson, he used to write about worms and stuff. These are demonic worms that feed off those people. Feed off their creativity. They're not creative themselves. Indeed, a lot of them are losers. A lot of them that work their way up in that position are losers that tried to make it and couldn't. Now, no one can say the same about me. So what? You say what you want. But there's people like Kurt Cobain that are really talented. They're one of a kinds. And these leeches come along and feed off of them. Drain their energy. I am my own pet virus. I get to pet and name her. They feed off of them. They feed off of them like leeches. The Axl Roses of the world, and the Slashes, and the Stephen Perrys, and Hank Williamses, and I know he killed himself basically with alcohol poisoning. But now Kurt Cobain, he was in misery. I've never outrooted any of it. I kind of wish back then, instead of obsessing over his music, I'd have been praying for him a little more. Because I'm going to tell you, after that, I started praying for all the artists that I liked, that I cared about. I'd pray for them. Heavily. Even saw demons praying for one of them. 6 demons around my bed. Walk out of the walls. Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson was the one I was praying for. Literally walked out of my walls and I told them, get behind me, Satan. Get away from me. And they walked back just like they came. You see, I didn't ever want no more of the artists that I like dying anymore, and I'd hear these people, they bash him. I just got his albums. And I thought, well, instead of doing that, I'm just going to pray for him. And about 2 or 3 days into that, woo! I opened some doors. And I said, Satan doesn't want me praying, so I'm going to pray a little more. I'm going to pray a little more. I'm going to pray harder. He tried to spook me out of not praying by showing me those damn demons. So I kept praying. So I really do hope him and Kanye really are on their right path. I prayed for Kanye too, by the way. You remember when they locked him away? I put Jesus Walks on repeat of. And he's having his trouble. He's going to have his trouble. Indeed, it's going to turn up a lot more. Heat will turn up more now that he's trying to escape Satan's claws. Because that's the way Satan is. He don't like losing. And when he loses, he tries to make you miserable. The devil doesn't like to lose. People might think I'm crazy. I don't care. Think what you want. Think what you want. I ain't ever gonna get out of this, but I did get her some life up. Driving around in circles. What a good Easter story to tell, though. I've been telling about the demons. I'm not sure if I ever told what I was praying. Woo! She hit the gate. I hit into a wicked's nest with that. But you know, instead of backing down, I was an ignorant, weak Christian back then. I'm still bad, but I'm better than I was. I'm more knowledgeable now. I do know a lot of things. Still stuck in some of my problems. Which is my fault, by the way. It ain't God's. It's my fault. Stuck in my way, stubborn. I did pray for Courtney Love a lot of times after Kurt Cobain died. Many a times. I like her too. My Flower Garden, the Flower Garden song, I kind of sound like her on a little bit, but I didn't deliberately copy her. I was more trying to sound more like Mudhoney. But I kind of remind me of a male Courtney Love on that. They like feeding off these people, these talented people. Because a lot of them are losers, they can't make it. So they feed off the ones that do. And I know people might question my taste and talent. You might do that, so what? I know one thing, I usually don't like the non-talented ones. There's this one guy, and I don't know where he's at now. He played, well, who was he open with? Steven Adler. And he walked down on the stage, and he had the feeling. I mean, I'm talking, I don't know whether he ever made it or where he's at. But boy, I felt something, and he come up and shook my hand after he played. And I thought, I just felt what they used to talk about when they used to talk about Jim Morrison. He had some feeling. I don't know whether he gave up, I don't know whether he quit, or where he's in another band somewhere, and I just don't know where he's at. And I need to get out my videos and find out who he was. I'm sure I probably taped something, and I probably got my archive somewhere. Somewhere on those hard drives. I need to find out who he is and see if he ever went on to be in another band. Because there's some kind of electric feeling about him. I mean, just the minute he walked out on stage, he was jumping around, he was up there singing. He really had it. He had the rock feeling. When he had it. You know, there's the fakers and then there's the people that have it. He had it. People said Kurt Cobain had a feeling. I never got to meet him or even see him live, so I don't know whether he had it or not. I will tell you this weird dream I had right before he died. It was so strange. I was seeing him. I could hear him. He was singing, which song was that? It was off the, he had the angel behind him. You know, it was when he was doing that in utero. It was the only thing I could see. You could see Chris, you could see Dro, you could see the angel. He was blacked out. He was completely black. I mean, there was no light on him at all. He was black. But you could see him. But you couldn't see him. And I was thinking, I can't see him. This is a little bit before he died. This is about... this was about... December? November? Same time my mama was... It was probably around the time we went to see Billy Ray and my mama was getting out of surgery. And that was the guide experience. You know, I've had the devil experience, which really wasn't a devil experience. Like, it wasn't me visualing hell like, you know, like they say hell, like when you're going to hell. It was more like me praying and then they start appearing. Trying to spook me out of the prayer. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I didn't take it that I was in trouble. I took it that I just hit some high wickedness. And I did. Because when you get into that Hollywood politician sphere, it's all the same. See, it's the same devils you're dealing with. It's the same ones that control Hollywood control our politics. The same devils. And believe me, they're tall, they got long fingers, they got big black eyes, or they either got sunglasses on. Because I took my glasses off the other day. I was telling my mama about it, and I took my glasses off. And I told her I was seeing them just like I'm seeing you right now. Where I can see every little detail of you, but I can't make it out. It's kind of fuzzy. But I could see them. I could see the details. I just couldn't see the details. And I'm kind of glad I did take them glasses off. Because they were ugly about what I seen. I wouldn't have wanted to see them any worse. And they were like they were real. I mean, they were really there. Solid. In your room. Solid. Hellraiser style, but not Hellraiser. It wasn't completely like Hellraiser. You know, the walls would turn. They just sort of like ripples form. Like ripples in time, or like they draw those warps. Warps. That would be sort of like they would like. It come like you watch the warp. He-Man would be the prime example. You know how they would go from Eternia and it'd sort of open up, but it'd be, theirs wasn't big like that. They were just around them, you know, like just little ripples. And then it closed just like it can't open. And they were behind it and the fire was shooting out of them. From whatever dimension they were in. It was a fiery dimension. Because the fire flames is what I saw first. The flames. And out of the flames came the hands, and then eventually the entities that were with the hands. The hands were so long that it took the hands a few minutes to get through the entities. Sort of like them old aliens. You know, like their hands are long. But I think theirs was longer than theirs, and they were bigger than them. They were taller than them. They were real tall. They were down tall. They were at the top of my ceiling. My ceiling was about 8 feet tall. Seven and a half, 8. So these were tall. And there's 5 or 6 of them. I swear there was a 6th one, but I seen 5 of them. I think that was the one to look, because I had a doorway. You sort of had to walk up your steps. And then there was a doorway. And over there was a place you could stand too. If you were standing somewhere, there was a place you could stand. You could stand about 5 or 6 people around that bed the way the room was set up. I'm not sure about number 6. I think he was there. But that all goes along with the correlation of Haunted Dalton. This is also a Civil War battlefield. But I think it was more due to that prayers that I was praying, because I'd done it for a few days. Right before I go to bed, I'd start praying. And I was watching CBN or something. That's having a big old fit about Marilyn Manson. Instead of doing what they did, I just said, well, I'm just going to pray for him. Because what you're doing, you ain't doing nothing but pushing them kids and them further. That's what I thought. Because I don't like people doing that to me. Indeed, I'm almost sort of like well, let's just say I got the same kind of hatred for religion that Marilyn Manson did. And I'm talking about that hatred that he didn't like. What he didn't like. I didn't like it either. I still don't really like it. I just try to ignore it because I'm afraid that I don't want to go off and get, if those people really are Christians, I don't want to go, because he'll hold you accountable for that. He will hold, that's what he was talking about with the brethren. Anytime you see the brethren listed in the Bible, it's not just talking about your regular human beings. You're supposed to treat them good too. You're supposed to pray for them, bring them into the fold, witness to them. But when you see the words brethren or sisters, he's talking about the body of Christ. He's not just talking about your regular human being. He's talking about your bodies in Christ. If you go off and mistreat one of them, and your intentions probably wasn't good, he's probably going to deal with you. He's probably going to deal with you anyway. But especially if your intentions weren't good. So I try to lay off of them a little bit more than I did back in the past. Because I don't want to reap anything. It's not my problem, you know. If they're stuck in their religion, and they're going to have to free themselves from their religion. It's not up to me. I don't need to take it on me, because I have my own issues. You're supposed to love the brethren. Love humanity too, because that's what he did. He died for everybody. You're supposed to love the brethren as well. He'll hold you accountable for that. So I've kind of backed off on some of that stuff. But there was a time I was probably just as bad as Marilyn Manson when it comes to that stuff. I just didn't take it out on God, you know. I never really hated the one true God, but the God of the people I hate, yay. That's one of his lyrics. But I figured out there's probably a twofold thing about all those persecutions he's going through. He's trying to break away from the devil. But it's also about his friendship. Have you noticed he's big friends with... And Johnny Depp got himself in with a mess with that. I'm just going to have to leave because I can't get out of it. There's a plan I get in that I can't never get out. How do I get out of this mess? It's twofold. It's spiritual and it's earthly. He's got a friendship. You know, many friendships aren't real. His and Johnny Depp's is. And they don't like that. And they come in between that, and they're using his friendship with Johnny Depp to get him to get even, because this woman has decided she wants to take down Johnny Depp. And these other women have decided to take him down, specifically since he got married. They really hate the Marilyn Manson got married. So they're trying to take him down as well. They knew what they was getting into. You can't tell me they didn't know what they was getting into. And they might not even got into anything like we're thinking, because Hollywood tends to sometimes is just as bad as it looks, but sometimes it can be over-exaggerated as well. Meaning... just what I'm meaning. In other words, there's the artwork and the character, And then there's the real individual. And people tend to judge the book by its cover. I'll leave the judging up the guide. Of course, now there's a thing about some of this stuff. Some of it, even Hollywood created some of these. Is that a blue line? That's a blue line. Can she get into that? She can. I don't guess she can. Well, I'll see y'all later. I didn't even mean to go in those conversations. They just happened. I started thinking about my uncle and what really fueled that song. It was the song I split, by the way. You can still hear the vocals over the music track. This is the one I like the best. I like how that vocal goes on that, and I can't figure out what I did. If I could reproduce anything that I've done in the past, it'd be whatever I did with them vocals. I'll see y'all later. Maybe this weekend, maybe next week. I ain't been getting on as much lately. Not as like I was getting on. I mean, I've been getting on, but a few minutes at a time. Few minutes at a time. Now, if I get that song put together, I may put more on it than, because I've been working on that song for a long time. It's one I've got the piece for, and I've actually finished the lyrics yesterday, or fine-tuned them. That's how I would put it. It's been finished a long time ago. Like, I changed the name of the guy that's in it. And I didn't even name the girl. I used to name the girl on the song. It's got a guy and a girl, and then it's got some other things to it as well. I'm not going to go into those things, because those are the chords of the song. And it's a semi-supernatural song, because of course it's going to be, because that was the theme that I was writing back then, and before, it was actually the title track before Tales of Hurt and the Paranormal. But it didn't get finished for that album, so I just went and put the album out. I was actually going to get it done, and I ran out of money. I just didn't have it to put in the song. So I said, well, and I didn't even know how to build beats back then. That's where I knew how to build beats. So I just put it on the back burner and never got done. It's finally done now. Or will be, as soon as I get the music looped right. I'll see y'all next time. Oh, I haven't signed out. I'm still figuring out this PS5.